What's going on, AIM Squad?
Yes, welcome back, Aim Squad.
We are back after a very interesting Thursday night football.
Very interesting.
I will say a little painful for me personally.
Yes, but a good game, an exciting game. We got to see some free football, aka overtime.
Oh, that's always great.
Overtime was great.
It was. Just not for my record,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
unfortunately. Well, we had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers face off the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta,
Yep.
where Luda made an appearance.
Yeah, you called that.
Yeah,
You
Luda
called it.
made an appearance. But that game went back and forth. It was a true divisional game, playoff atmosphere, scoring, hitting. I really liked the game. Unfortunately, Earshot had Tampa Bay to cover the spread, which didn't lead because it was at what, plus 2.5?
Minus 1.5.
Minus one.
Minus
They were
1.5 for
favored
Atlanta.
to win.
Minus Atlanta was minus 1.5
So it's plus 1.5 for you
for
to
me.
cover.
Yeah.
And yeah, Atlanta just took it to the house, didn't allow Tampa Bay to get a possession, which honestly they should change the rules.
They need to change that rule.
But
Yeah.
that's a different story. Yeah, Atlanta came through, covered the spread, won, and just Irshad, you went down to
0-5.
yeah.
Like, Thursday night football and me just simply don't get along.
Just don't get.
I don't know what it is, but yeah, I mean, it was a tough divisional matchup. Honestly, everything leading up to it, even the gameplay, it was Tampa Bay all day.
Yeah,
Atlanta somehow kept close, at the
Just-
dying moments, and they were able to tie it at the end. Young Hoku with that, with the leg, steady leg.
steady leg after missing the first two.
Yeah, yeah, of course. The first time we make a comment on him, this
Yeah,
guy decides to miss first time all season, and then in overtime you see that big breakout that led to
Yeah,
that rush.
that 45-yard pass touchdown to Hodge.
Tampa Bay defense kind of let him go on that one,
Yeah,
but here it is. It is what it is. It happens. That's why it's Thursday night football, and that's why we keep it separate because things do happen. Short weeks mean a lot of things for different teams.
Yeah,
Some
they
people
do.
love the short weeks. Some people hate the short weeks. But here we've acknowledged that short weeks and Thursday night football are different of a dynamic than Sunday. So, we take the losses and the wins to the chin. But Ulner,
yes,
you are officially 3-2, above
Yeah.
500 on Thursday night football. I'm hoping to go. I'm hoping to go 12 straight now
I
on
hope
Thursday
so
night
too.
football because currently I'm 0-5. But TBD for week 6. But obviously we saw the back and forth shootout with Thursday night fantasy. Definitely was interesting. We had our lineup, but tell the folks how we did, man.
Yeah, it was alright. If we had quarterback as Baker Mayfield, we thought Baker was gonna start slinging, but Kirk Cousins came on to put on a show.
You did.
In that position, we got, not the best position player that there is. So Baker didn't do as well as Kirk. And so, yeah, we took a loss on that one there. And then the second one we had was our running back, where we had Bijan. Bijan thought, was going to have an amazing game. And he went on. He caught the ball. He got Atlanta involved. He had fun with it.
Yep.
While, I guess, Tampa Bay was, true to their colors, was wanting to throw the football.
Yeah.
And, Rashad White was there too, but Bijan had the better performance.
Yes.
So we got one there too.
We got the right one.
Yeah, which leads us to our wide receiver.
Yeah.
And our wide receiver we had Godwin. We had Godwin. Godwin put on a show.
He did.
He just no, it was just because it was a firepower and a shootout, and Mooney decided to show up out of nowhere for Atlanta. Became Kirk Cousins' favorite target. Came with a clutch.
Two
Had
TDs.
Two TDs. Kirk Cousins wasn't throwing. Kirk Cousins was averaging a TD and an interception a game.
Yeah.
He had 4 TDs and an interception this game.
That's unreal.
And with all the wide receiver firepower, Godwin wasn't at the top tier for us this week. And so Mooney was better than he was there, which leads us to our tight end.
Yes.
Where we had Pitts. Pitts had fun. He had a breakout game after last week going for goose egg across the boards. And Otten was just a filler for Tampa Bay. Mike Evans got hot. Chris Godwin was there, sure, but he had a lot of firepower. And Baker Mayfield also ran the football too, but he just couldn't fight on. But we took Pitts, better player position for that week between the two, which helped us there too. And then we had the defense.
Yeah.
We had the Bucks defense, who were putting on a show.
And we thought they were gonna win.
Well, even then too, they thought they were putting on a show regardless. Stop, having Kirk Cousins a little in trouble, stuff and that. But they just, towards overtime, as you can tell, they just allowed Falcons to just get into that touchdown.
Horrible.
which leads us to our kicker.
Yeah.
Where I'll allow Irshad to let us know what happened here.
Obviously, we know Steady Leg who was able to tie the game. But one thing that it's important to note is, of the two kickers, Young Hoku still came out with our selection
Yeah.
at 15 points, right? So he definitely was arguably a top tier kicker for what will be week 5.
Yes.
But McLaughlin here dropped a point more,
Just
literally a point more. So by definition, Young Hoku was the worst of the two kickers,
Yeah.
but both kickers with their 15 and 16 points respectively will likely be leading the kicking status
Yeah.
for week 5. But hey, you know what? Like we said, we take the best position, the best player in each position from each team. And in this case, it wasn't Young Hoku, even though he did score 15. It was McLaughlin. But that would be our fantasy. So of the 6 positions this week, this was a tough Thursday night football. We got 2 out of the 6, right?
2 out of the 6.
Which leads us to another tough Thursday night football component of our show, which is the parlay.
Yeah.
We had the 3-legger. We had field goals over 2.5.
Yeah, which came through.
Which actually hit, which came through. We had Bijan 8-time touchdown, which they pulled back at the line of scrimmage there. And they had Chris Godwin, who wasn't able to get a touchdown, unfortunately, during an anytime touchdown.
Yeah.
Mike Evans picked both of them up.
Yeah.
And Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, and then Hodge at the end.
And Hodge at the end. And if, for those who watched the game, if you guys go back and look at the tape, Godwin was open.
Oh, he's there.
He's there.
Twice he was there to get touchdown.
He just didn't get the
just
glance.
Kirk Cousins just said, I'd rather get somebody in the end zone than give it to somebody short and run it in there. But
Baker Mayfield, you mean?
Sorry, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Just couldn't get it in there. So
It's
okay.
It happens. I mean, obviously, the glance was maybe, it's a game of microseconds.
Yeah.
So, maybe he saw Sterling Shepard open, but unfortunately, it did not hit.
Yeah.
Which took us into our trending bet with Godwin. Anytime
yeah.
touchdown did not hit. But, like we say, Thursday night football is
separate.
different because of this.
Yes,
right?
because of this.
Because of these interesting shenanigans.
Yeah, short weeks and just,
It's tough. But we did share with you guys before we had left our previous episode some interesting games of interest.
Yes.
And we are happy to share that 3 of those games that we shared are in fact our games of the week.
Yes.
And coming up from the momentum from last week's game of the week is something that we suggest you lock in, because whether you do straight or parlay on our games of the week, these picks are interesting.
Yes.
Let them know what we have coming on for this week, man.
All right, so we have another divisional game because we love divisional game here at AIM Sports. We got the Baltimore Ravens versus Cincinnati Bengals.
All right.
We got the spread at Baltimore favorite at -2.5.
Yep.
This is going to be a fun divisional game. I'm excited to actually watch this game. I might even just skip Red Zone and just watch this game as a full, because this is going to be really, really exciting. And we got our friend Bill Vonovich, who's reffing this game. Bill Vonovich is an interesting ref. Let's just put it that way. We'll get it started. We'll start with that first game. We'll just go. Bill Vonovich is very interesting. He loves Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
Yes.
Like, he loves them. Every time they play, Lamar Jackson has a positive record while he's reffing the game. To be exact, Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are 7-2 on the money line when ref by Bill Vonovich, and are 8-1 against the spread.
Yeah.
8-1 against the spread. Bill Vonovich just loves them.
Yes.
And then on top of it too, the Ravens are almost the most highly anticipated penalized team.
Yeah.
Bill Vonovich, when he refs, the Ravens only average 4.9 penalties a game, which all leads towards Baltimore getting this W.
Yes.
2.5 on the road against a Burrow and Jamar Chase feud trying to find themselves together. It's going to be a tough game. But now if you look at it on the other hand, where you have Joe Burrow, he plays it a little bit well. He's 8-5 and 1 against the spread at home when he is a -3 or shorter as a favorite or listed as an underdog. So there's a chance for Burrow to have a good game here, which he would need to, because they cannot fall to 1-5 in this division. Falling 1-5 in the division is going to brutally kill them, put them out of play for even making the playoffs. So they're gonna put themselves in a very, very tough position there, and I don't see that happening. And on top of it too, um, Burrow has made 29 home starts in his career as the Bengals, and he has been the underdog 8 times.
Yeah.
In those, he's 4-4 straight up and 5-3 against the spread. Yes, he may not take his team and win the game, but he sure does cover the spread 5 out of 3 times.
Fair.
So you got to give him the opportunity there as well too.
That's fair.
Now, leading said, Bill Vonovich has already ref 2 previous games already, and he loves the road teams. Bill Vonovich loves the road teams here. When Bill Vonovich refs, his stats that he has a trend are 42, 54, and 4 against the spread. That's what home teams are when Bill Vonovich refs. And like I said previously, when me and Irshad were going at it on Thursday, we had that game too where that ref was loving road teams.
Yeah.
And he's done it twice already in 2014, Bill Vonovich. I don't see that happen again. I don't see the home teams going 0-2.
Yep.
I see Bill Vonovich doesn't follow the trend, and Cincinnati sneaks out with a W here. Maybe I'll say they covered, but a W I'll put sprinkle a little on that too. But Cincy plus 2.5, that's my pick.
Okay.
If everyone's listening out there, want to ride with me, lock with me, and I hope Irshad, you ride with me too, or are you going opposite?
I think this game, you brought up some key points with Bill Vonovich, and how Baltimore is probably one of the more heavily penalized teams.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we definitely saw the new formation rules this year, but Bill Vonovich tends to favor, and not call a lot of flags and penalties, which could actually work to the favor of the Baltimore Ravens' high-powered offense.
Yes.
But before giving you guys my call, there's a couple of things, right? So first off, when you look at the offense, we have King Henry himself.
Yes.
Baltimore is first with a number of rushing yards per game,
For sure.
through and through in the entire league. On their flip side, their defense is also the best in stopping the rush.
Mm-hmm.
So that almost takes Zach Moss's rush from the Bengals out of contention right away, right? Which is substantially corroborated by the fact that they have one of the subpar rushing per game in the league, coupled with the fact that, Baltimore has the highest rating in rush defense.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to stop the rush game immediately. Now, can I expect some breakouts? Sure, but I think generally you're going to see the Baltimore Ravens defense adapt to them close out the rush, which leads them to a one-sided offense in the pass game.
Yes.
You have a solid secondary from the Baltimore Ravens. Albeit, sure, it's not necessarily the best one in the league for sure. They're also near in the bottom for passing, but at the same token, they definitely are a strong, well-rounded defense through and through, and once again, they'll adapt. Coming down to the important player, quote-unquote, Bill Vonovich.
Yes, Mr. Bill.
It's you mentioned a couple of things, right? The Ravens are 7-2 on the money line and 8-1 against the spread with Bill Vonovich in the Lamar Jackson era.
Yes.
I'll say that again. They're 8-1.
Yeah.
8-1 against the spread in the Lamar Jackson era when Bill Vonovich is reffing, and Baltimore in those games, Baltimore has averaged just about 5 penalties per game.
Yeah.
In those contests. This is a completely different frame of reference where Ron Torbert is refereeing a couple of weeks ago and penalized the hell out of the Ravens nearly 13 times in the game. Like, this is a complete 9-day difference, and I anticipate, whether it's the innate bias, whether it's maybe the inadvertent no calls, I think that is going to continue. I think we're going to anticipate seeing a 9-1 trend against the spread with Bill Vonovich, which obviously for those who can kind of deduce here, I am calling Baltimore -2.5. But there's a couple of things lastly that I want to share here is Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson have faced, 5 times in their careers, right? Lamar Jackson holds a straight-up advantage at 4-1. But it's important to know on the money line side, he's 3-2 versus Burrow. So yes, technically right there, right? It could easily be a tie come tomorrow, but it also could be speaking on the fact that he has covered the spread many times, right? More than 50% of the time. It's also important to note that the Ravens are the first NFL team in league history to outrush opponents by 100 or more yards in each of the first 4 games this season. And that's fully attributed to literally King Henry, like we talked about.
King Henry himself, yeah.
Their defense is strong, their rush game is strong. It's also important to note that when it comes to Lamar's kind of favorite, not being an underdog but being a favorite, when he's favored by more than 3 points, he's 21 and 31. But he's not favored by more than 3 points. He's favored by minus 2.5, which means as a favorite of 3 points or less, Lamar Jackson is 24 and 5 against the spread in the regular season. He is 24 and 5.
Yeah,
that is astoundingly good. That means he's nearly 5 times more likely to cover the spread if his spread is less than 3 points.
And then you have Bill Vonovich too.
And you have Bill Vonovich
7-2 against the spread.
So once again, could this be the curse of what we saw on Thursday, where all the history, all the ref, all the statistics point to Tampa Bay potentially, but Sunday Night Football is a little bit more quote unquote readable. I don't know if that's the right word, right? But it is more, I think, understanding. It's not like a Thursday Night Football. I do anticipate Sunday divisional matchup, Baltimore. A lot of these things point to it, and I'm holding it down with Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson minus 2.5. So for those listening to me, if you guys are holding it down with me last week, the 3-leg parlay we ate. So hopefully you can lock it in minus 2.5.
Yes,
Baltimore.
All right, that's going to be an exciting game. We have our differences there, but we'll see what happens on Sunday. Which leads us to our second game of the week, where we have another yet divisional matchup. We love divisional matchups here, like everybody knows.
Love those.
And we got the Indianapolis Colts versus the winless Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yes.
Jacksonville is favored minus 3. This is actually really surprising. A team that hasn't won a game is favored at home by 3. I would say this should be a pick-up game, if anything.
Yeah.
Divisional game. Indianapolis has a couple of wins, but then you look at Indianapolis, they have some injuries. They lost their not rookie quarterback, but they got the quarterback that's young, and Richardson, who's out. You got the best player on that team, the running back Taylor, who's also out as well too.
Yeah.
And then you have Carl Sheffers, the third player of the game that's there. You can't forget about him, and he plays a big, big, big role in this. And on his betting trend, the home teams are 79 and 52 on the money line since 2016. Home teams are also 67, 62, and 2 against the spread.
Yep.
But when Sheffers coaches a divisional game, the home teams are 29, 18 against the spread.
Okay.
Which leads to why Jacksonville is favored minus 3.
Yes.
Before I give my pick, Irshad, what do you see here in this game? Why is it minus 3, divisional game? Is Jacksonville going to get their first win of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I know you and I talked about this. Like, how is Jacksonville an 0-4 team?
Yeah.
Minus 3, right? Against Colts, who are 2-2, right? I don't disagree. I think Vegas has also accounted that Carl Sheffers is officiating this game. So they've built into the fact that as a divisional matchup, 29 and 18, like, you're almost twice as likely to have against the spread for the divisional matchup.
Well, it's in favor of the home team, right?
It's in favor of the home team, for sure, right? But at the same token, I think, you do have the plight of the Indianapolis Colts, with Anthony Richardson. Like, we know Trevor Lawrence, we know Jacksonville's had a tough schedule up until right now. And I think that's important to note because really when you look at it, they played Houston, Buffalo, Cleveland, Miami. Like, these are maybe outside of the Browns, and even then Browns are pretty decent. Yeah. You have Miami, Buffalo, and Houston. Those are 3 heavy-duty teams, right? Yeah. Like, that's a tough, matchup. Anthony Richardson has played Houston, so, understood, Green Bay, the Bears, and Pittsburgh. I think what we're seeing is Trevor Lawrence though it hasn't been reflected on the win column, has been playing decent football. All right, 4 TDs, 1 interception. I mean, that's actually not too bad for across 4 games.
That's not bad.
Whereas Anthony Richardson and the Colts, 3 TDs and 6 interceptions across 4 games. So I think they've kind of factored it in. That's what I'm seeing right now. At -3, I do agree with one of the more important players with Carl Sheffers on the field. And if I can, when it comes to the actual matchup in and of itself, the Colts actually have struggled with the Jaguars.
Yeah, they have.
Right? They have. Like Indianapolis is 14, 26, and 2 against the spread versus Jacksonville in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's historically.
What about a smaller sample size, Rashad?
A smaller sample size, they are 1-7 against the spread against the Jags since 2020, and 2-15-1 versus the Jags since 2015. So this is all relatively in the newer era of football.
Yeah.
Right. But if you look at Trevor Lawrence's era,
just himself,
he is 5-1 against the spread in his career against Colts, and including 3-0 straight up and against the spread at home in Indy, covering the spread
by how much?
By 23 points. So it is positioned that not only is he slated to beat the Colts, but he's slated to beat the Colts at home, and then slated to beat the Colts at home by 23.
Yeah.
So yes, they're winless. Yes, they're 0-4. Yes, they're going against 2-2. But -3, Jacksonville, shoot, that almost seems kind of generous. Or not generous, but that kind of seems very conservative.
For sure.
-3? Jeez, I'd probably put it at -5.5, -6, to be honest. But, I mean, that's kind of I'm looking at. I mean,
that's what we see here,
That's what we see here. But
Trevor Lawrence loves playing.
He loves
playing Indianapolis. If you look at it in the division, the AFC South, when Lawrence plays Houston, he's 2-5 straight up, 3-4 against the spread. When he plays Tennessee, he's 3-3 straight up and 2-4 against the spread. When he plays Indy, he's 4-2 straight up and 5-1 against the spread.
There you go.
There is something about the Colts that Trevor Lawrence just doesn't like about them and just brings his A game out.
Yeah. And it's at home this time too.
And it's at home too. And I think he's gonna bring his A game out tomorrow or Sunday and get himself and his Jacksonville Jaguars a W.
Yeah.
Because another loss here, going 0-5, means your season is done.
Yes.
And a team to say with this caliber and talent to say your season's over in 5 weeks, that just doesn't sound right. The whole front office should get fired. The whole team should just blow up. Trades are gonna happen. It's gonna be a problem. I'm taking Jacksonville -3 to cover.
Yeah.
Division game. It speaks for itself. I think Trevor Lawrence is gonna have an amazing game. Probably throw for 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Their running game. Plus, Indianapolis doesn't even have a good run defense as well too. They're almost at the bottom of the league there too.
Yeah.
And Trevor Lawrence will throw the football. He'll give it to Etienne, be able to run, and they'll be able to exploit that defense there. Probably score about 30+ points themselves.
Yeah, I agree.
If they're averaging beating them by 29 or 28 points, it is they should score that, and they breeze easy. Jacksonville -3. I love it. I think that was my favorite pick of the week.
Easily. And I 100% agree. Like, Jonathan Taylor's still out, so run game in Indianapolis is non-existent.
And you have Joe Flacco throwing.
Yeah.
Right? And as a Jacksonville defense, I'm letting Joe Flacco throw.
Yeah.
There's no Taylor back there. If there was Taylor back there, then yes, it's a scare, because if you press it, yes, he'll beat you with a throw.
Yeah.
But now, Flacco just has to throw the football.
He has to throw. There's no Taylor, and everybody kind of knows the game plan that's coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think you're right. I think right now, another thing that you mentioned is Indianapolis has one of the or second worst rushing defense. And the reality of it is Jacksonville's rushing isn't actually horrible.
Yeah.
They're 13th, sure. But the reality of that is that
they've been down.
They've been down.
So they've been having to throw the football.
Yeah. And their rusher, Etienne, isn't bad.
Exactly.
He's damn good. He just hasn't had a good opportunity.
Exactly, because they're restoring the football, which has been leading them. And for them to be down, losing every game, to be 13th in rushing, should prove that is their bread and butter, is running the football.
I agree.
So You're riding with me -3.
I'm riding with you -3 Jacksonville, and like I said, I think that's super conservative.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's as low as -3. To be honest, I would probably put it at like I said, 5.5.
Yeah.
But hey, if it's -3, Vegas is giving easy money. I'm not gonna complain.
We'll take that.
We'll take Jacksonville -3 because at the end of the day, you're right. It has strong implications in their division. We know Houston's good.
Yeah, they're good. Yeah.
So really, it's a contest between the Indianapolis Colts, Tennessee Titans, and the Jaguars.
But the way Tennessee's playing, they have a W.
Yeah.
With Will Lewis throwing interception, Tennessee should be at least 4-1.
Yes.
Maybe even 3-2.
Yes.
But because of their quarterback having some mishaps towards the end of the game and just giving the other team the win, they're 1-4.
Yep. 1-4.
1-3.
1-3.
Sorry. 1-3.
Yeah.
And now Jacksonville's here, who's been fighting, have been close almost every game, just with that firepower, having got a win. No, I don't see that happening. I like Jacksonville.
I love that. Yep. So you heard it here. We're both riding on game number 2, game of the week, Indianapolis Colts versus Jacksonville Jaguars. We are both calling and riding with Jacksonville -3.
Take on -23.
I know. Might as well. I mean, statistically, right?
If they cover the spread by 23 points,
Sprinkle
and they're favored by 3, you're telling me they're winning by 26 or more points? Of course, that's what it says here.
I mean, statistically, right?
Statistically, that's what it says.
But hey, like I said, Vegas is giving free money at -3.
We'll take it.
We'll take -3 wholeheartedly, which leads us to our last game of the week. And this game is another key matchup that we had shared as a game of interest. And this game here is between, and it's going to be part of the afternoon window.
It's also another game that AIM Sports loves doing too.
Divisional matchup.
It's another divisional game.
You got to love divisional matchups.
We got all 3 games of the week this week are all divisional matchups.
And this one here, second window of the day, the afternoon window, between the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. So San Francisco, right now Vegas has come out as the favorite at -7. So, Allner, tell them what you're thinking, where you're leaning towards, and why, man.
Let's just get it started from the beginning. Brock Purdy is going to be able to throw the football to Ayuk, Jennings, Samuel. George Kittle's injured, may or may not play. That's going to be a tough one. But then we have Mr. Third Player, Land Clark. Land Clark and his betting trends doesn't like home teams.
No.
Home teams are 25, 37, and 1 against the spread in his career. 25 and 37, just against the spread. And a divisional game with 7 points, to me, I feel there's a lot of points. Kittle may not come. Samuel's banged up a little bit.
Yeah.
The running game is there. Arizona is almost bottom of in the run defense, so you have Mason just running all over them. Brock Purdy loves playing NFC West opponents. He's 6-3 against the spread, 11-11 against non-divisional teams. When Purdy has faced the Cardinals in 3 games, he's 3-0 straight up and against the spread, with a spread of 12.5, 15, 14. He just lights them up.
Yeah.
He just lights them up, Brock Purdy. He's faced them only 3 times, and he just loves them. He just carves them up. But this year, the Cardinals are a different team, Rashad.
Yeah.
They're a very, very different team. They have a healthy Kyler Murray. You got James Conner in the back. You got Harrison Jr., who's a rookie coming out, showing love, a lot of firepower. He's like his dad. It's like Peyton Manning and him used to hook up.
Yeah.
He could throw the ball anywhere, and he will go get that ball for you.
Yep.
That first week in short, but the last couple of weeks, Harrison has been putting on a show. And there's a fun fact I have to tell you. So you know how Arizona lost by more than 17 last week?
Yeah.
And how many points did San Francisco win by last week? 17. A team that loses by 17 points, which was Arizona or more, faces a team that won by 17 or points or more the next week. The team that lost by 17 or more points are 113 and 77 against the spread in the last 20 years. That's 60% chance in 20 years that the team that lost last week by 17 covers the spread.
Jeez.
That is a very, very high number.
Yeah.
Very, very high number. And wait, let's make it even more interesting here. A team that loses by 28 or more points, because Arizona got dismantled at home last week to the Washington Redskins, or the Washington football team, as you want to call it. Yes. A team that loses by 28 or more points and is an underdog of 4 or more points the next week cover the spread 115 to 72 times in the last 20 years. That's a 62% chance that they covered.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 17 points and then 28 points. And the Cardinals are the only team this week that are facing that type of stat. And a +7 looks real juicy to me as a divisional game. But then again, the Cardinals have struggled against the NFC West recently.
Yeah.
But that's because they've been a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
Kyle
sure.
Murray hasn't been there. James Conner, yeah, he's been there. He's been injured too. Their wide receivers haven't really been the best. I think Land Clark's going to play a big factor in this game.
Mm-hmm.
I am telling you, Kyle Murray's going to come put on a show. I don't see Arizona coming and losing this football game. Well, they don't. If they lose this football game, they're putting their season in jeopardy.
Right.
With especially the team that they have. And San Francisco has been to the Super Bowl twice already. They're a team that just has to make it to the playoffs.
That's it. Yeah.
Because once they make it to the playoffs, they already have that feeling, that firepower, bring their A game when to do it.
Yeah.
And Arizona just cannot afford to throw away their season again.
No.
Just like Jacksonville in Week 5. With that much talent, I don't see it happening. I am taking Arizona +7 to cover in this divisional matchup, and hoping my friend over here, Mr. Third Player, Land Clarks, does us a favor.
Yeah. I think, especially looking at Land Clark's record, I'm inclined to agree with you.
All right, yes.
So as I'm rolling with Arizona +7 here as well. I mean, for the angle, of course, Land Clark, we saw Ulner mention, home teams are 25, 37-1 against the spread throughout his career. We obviously know that Purdy is typically, a hotter hand when coming and throwing the football. But, in this case, he's favored by 7. When he's favored by 4 points or more, he's actually 9-12 against the spread.
Wow.
So when he's actually favored by more, he actually doesn't hit the spread.
Yeah.
Right? Whether that's indicative of being straight up win or not,
Yeah.
it's irrespective. This is against the spread sheerly. Right? When he's 3.5 points or less, or as a dog, he is more inclined to cover the spread at 8-2. But in this particular case, when he's favored by more than 4, so in this case 7, he's 9-12, so less likely to actually cover. So yes, we know that he has beat the Cardinals before, but as Ulner mentioned, this is a different Cardinals offense.
This
is like almost coming back to prime Larry Fitzgerald era.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bolden.
And you have that
Kurt
kind of
Warner,
Kurt Warner. You know what I mean? Like this is kind of falling back
James
into
back. Yeah, ooh, good football back.
good
in the day,
football,
yeah.
right? Like I think the Cardinals deserve it. I think the Arizona fans deserve it. It's definitely been a long time coming. One of the things that we see here is the prowess in James Conner, right? Like, let's start off there. James Conner and the entire Cardinals offense here is responsible for putting the Cardinals in the 5th top rushing yards team in the league.
Yeah.
Right? That's actually better than San Francisco at 8th. But on the flip side, there is that notion of defense, right? So San Francisco is 6th best in stopping the rush, so it's going to be a head-to-head matchup, but that is where the versatility of the offense will come in, and that's where Kyler Murray can now step up. More importantly, a healthy Kyler Murray can step up. Across the games, across 4 games, he's only threw 1 pick, which is amazing. And he's thrown for 6 TDs. 4 of them have gone to Marvin Harrison, which means that you have...
And in week 1, he had 0.
And 0, which that means in weeks 2, 3, and 4...
In 3 weeks, he's had 6 touchdowns?
That's unreal. 4 of which have gone to Marvin Harrison.
Oh, so you had 4, exactly.
Yeah. Four have gone to Marvin Harrison, which means that you literally have a versatile offense across the board.
Yeah.
You're going to stop my rush? No problem. I have capabilities to run myself.
Exactly.
And or throw to a formidable wide receiver in Marvin Harrison. You're gonna spy. You're gonna leak your safeties at the back. No problem. I'll let Connor rush all the way through, and he is a formidable rusher because our O line has been known to stop the actual pass rush. So you have a couple of options that I think will keep the defense guessing, especially a formidable defense like the 49ers. So all to say is with the statistics of we talk about the floor, we talk about the ceiling. It's important that another kind of sidebar is Tom Brady will actually be on the call for the Cardinals game, right? We've seen the GOAT start his broadcasting career this year. He's done Cowboys Browns week 1, Saints Cowboys week 2, and Ravens Cowboys week 3, and the Bucks and Eagles in week 4. Just keeping in mind here, just a small fun little fact because of the GOAT. road teams, when Brady is in the booth, are 3-1 straight up and against the spread, and underdogs are 3-1 straight up against the spread. Overs, for those who play over unders, are actually 4-0, right, with Brady in the booth, which actually leads that not only statistically the floor and ceiling, as I was mentioning, is that, you know, the ceiling being Kyler Murray and the entire offense, the floor being Purdy's record at 4 points or more, being a little underwhelming. You have Lan Clark being the referee, and then you have the sheer notion that statistically the Arizona Cardinals are just a little bit better this year than they have been in the previous years, all while Mr. GOAT himself, who's calling these games, the road teams tend to be favored. I think collectively puts me in a position to agree with Ulner, and also make the call that I too will also be joining Arizona +7.
There you go.
Right now, of course, we want to, you know, obviously if Arizona gets the dub, that'd be great because we can actually win, because a +7 would entail a push. But hey, you know what? +7 it is, and we'll see what happens from here.
Well, there you go. So those are the 3 games of the week we have. We got Baltimore, Cincy. I myself have Cincy to cover. I got Earshot going with Baltimore. And then the next 2 divisional games, we got Indianapolis, Jacksonville -3, which me and my brother are both riding that together. And then we got the game we just spoke about, Arizona, San Francisco, with Tom Brady broadcasting that game. We got Arizona +7. We're both riding it. So hopefully this week, you know, we get some W's. Especially these 2. That first one's going to be fun to watch, though.
It is.
You know, we'll have a little rivalry on that one, but the other 2 will get it. That's going to be fun, which now leads us to our trending bet.
The AIM Sports trending bet that we like to do, where we are confident with one bet of anytime TD across all the games on Sunday Night Football. So, in this particular week, we've talked about it before, and we have actually talked about it in our game of the week. We're anticipating Travis Etienne Jr. To score anytime TD during the Indianapolis and Jacksonville game. And currently, that goes for 1.8 times your unit.
Yes, correct.
Not a bad bet.
Not a bad bet. And so, lock that in. Jacksonville's going to have a fun game. Etienne's going to find the end zone. 1.8 times your unit. Lock it in. Have some fun with it. Which now leads us to our fantasy. We're going to go with fantasy. We're going to go with fantasy. We have something saved for later, which we love to, you know, share last, because we were just like good vibes with that going on.
Of course.
But we're going to go into fantasy, leading into touchdown scores.
Yes.
Fantasy is all about players that can produce points.
And the goal is
to pass the century mark.
That's it.
And to get points, you got to score touchdowns too, to increase your value and increase your points. Aside from rushing, passing, catching, kicking, intercepting, fumbling, the whole works in the game.
You got to get titties.
Right? You got to get something. You got to get the tutties, right? So, in our fantasy this week, as you all know, people that are new listening to us, we do it as a category. We have 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a defense, and a kicker. All games across the board.
Through and through.
So we're going to start off with our quarterback. This week we have Geno Smith.
Seattle.
Geno Smith from Seattle playing the New York Giants. Giants are banged up, have nobody on the offensive side.
It's tough.
Seattle's going to be at home, and they should come out and just throw the football. Geno's going to have some fun with it. Metcalf, Lockett, they're going to come in and just put on a show for them.
Easy.
Which leads us to our running back, which my brother mentioned, and let you know again, our trending bet.
Is it Etienne?
Yes.
So we believe that he's gonna be picking up a lot on the floor, on the rush, on the check downs. I think Indianapolis Colts are gonna be vulnerable to him. And he's gonna get that anytime TD at least once, if not twice.
I like that, twice, if you want to get a little heavy with that.
That's
one.
It.
Which leads us to our second running back, which is Mr. King himself, Mr. Runner himself, Mr. NFL, King Henry. Derrick Henry should run all over Cincinnati this week.
Always.
Find the end zone like how he did last week. And it's just too easy for him. He's a big dog.
That's what they're number one. That's
what they're number one. Which now leads us to our wide receivers. We have a player on the same team, same game as them. We got Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase has to bring his A game this week. If Cincinnati wants to keep their season alive, keep their race close in that division, we're going to need Jamar Chase to go through Baltimore defense, catch some passes from Joe Burrow, get that magic connection that they had last year and a few years ago back again to revamp the Cincinnati team. Which leads us to another spectacular young wide receiver that my brother over here really likes. I'll let you know who we chose.
Man, honestly, I've been riding with this guy for a little bit on all my fantasy teams for the last couple of years. This year, I think he's had a real breakout year. That is from the Houston Texans.
Yes.
Nico Collins really coming into his own. I think he's going to be really, catching a lot of tutties this week. I think you have, just that connection between him and CJ Stroud.
Yeah.
And we know Tank Dell's back when Stephon Diggs is there, but Nico Collins, in spite of that, has been able to get a ball hawk there. So confident about Nico Collins being our wide receiver number 2 for this week. Going into our last offensive position, which is the tight end.
Yes.
Oh no, who do we got for the tight end, man?
Tight end, we got Mr. Swifty himself. We believe he has to bounce back.
He has to.
Like, it's been so slow for him. And again, they're playing the Saints this week, Monday night.
Yeah.
It's a primetime game. Everyone's going to be watching. I think Taylor Swift's going to be there too.
Yeah,
it's a
she will
primetime game.
be.
She has to be there. They're playing in Kansas City. And when Taylor Swift is in Kansas City plays a hell of a game.
Yeah.
And I feel Kelsey's going to be a part of the hell of a game that they have. And he's going to put in a touchdown. He's going to catch a pass, help their offense. Especially with Rashee Rice out too, right?
That's
Injured.
the thing, yeah.
Kelsey's going to have to find a way to get open, find some open space, and have the other wide receivers help him get that space and catch some balls.
Yeah.
He just might have to do one of those offensive rebound, box out, just get in there, curl around, catch the ball.
Yeah.
Because once he catches, he can produce some more yards. But yeah, that's our tight end.
I think
Kelsey.
he's forgetting how big he actually is.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Like I said last week, might be getting a softie. But yeah,
Might
50,
become a soft. Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Which leads us to our defense.
Yes.
This defense has always been a defensive force. Every team in the NFL does not like playing this defense.
Yep.
We got the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
Sunday night primetime game against the Dallas Cowboys, who Dak Prescott they're gonna make him throw, get some interceptions, sack him off. Brandon Cooks is not injured, so now they have a third string wide receiver coming up. Double CD Lamb, make Prescott use his other weapons to beat them. But
Yep.
Pittsburgh at home, that defense is just lethal, just super lethal, which leads us to our kicker.
Now, our kick comes from Mr. Primetime Game, obviously between New Orleans Saints
Yes.
and the Kansas City Chiefs. We anticipate Kansas City Chiefs coming in with a bit of a heavy, trying to close out some of the Rashee Rice vulnerabilities.
Mhm.
So we anticipate the New Orleans Saints kicker, Blake Group,
Mhm.
going to be coming in and kicking whatever he possibly can
To
to
keep
ensure
it-
keep
yeah.
the games close.
Yeah.
Right. It may come down to, I think the spread currently is -5.5 Kansas City, which potentially could entail a kick or two as the difference maker.
For sure.
So this game, Blake Group could be actually called to the front lines and may have to hold it down for the New
Might do
Orleans
like a
Saints.
young Hoku, right? Come
That's
out,
it.
might have game winner, might have kick to go to overtime. You never know, right?
Steady leg.
So there we go. That's our fantasy lineup. Quarterback, Geno Smith. Running back, we got Etienne. Second running back, Derrick Henry. Wide receiver, we got Jamar Chase. Second wide receiver, Mr. Speedy Nico Collins. Tight end, we got Kelsey. Pittsburgh defense, and Group as our kicker. Which now leads us to
The fun segment of
Yes.
AIM Sports, which we like to keep for the last.
I think this is my favorite part.
I think so.
I think this is my favorite part of the podcast.
Honor loves to do this last because he loves this part of the show. And to all of our listeners, I think you guys enjoy too because we have had a parlay hit.
Yeah.
And that was a decent payout for those who tailed with
Yeah.
us. And this is our segment where we do our 3-leg parlay.
Mm-hmm.
We pick a variety of things. It's not locked to any particular player, position, or prop. We just pick 3 good parlays across a few of the games on Sunday Night Football that have a good chance of A, happening, but B, also have a good payout for your return. So, to start us off, I'll speak to one that we already kind of talked about
Yes.
a couple of times in our fantasy as well as our game of the week. We have Etienne,
Yes.
and we are calling over 49.5 yards rushing.
Yes. In other words, you can also say over 50 plus rushing yards if you do milestones or alternative rushing yards.
There you go.
But we need Etienne to have 50 rushing yards to get the check mark on this bet.
Which we feel pretty confident about.
Really confident, especially like how we said against going Indianapolis, second worst rushing defense?
Yep.
Like that's just, it just sounds money to me right there. Which also now leads us to another running back. We got Swift from the Chicago Bears to run over 49.5 yards against the Carolina Panthers. Again, other people can use milestones, over 50 yards. Carolina Panthers, their rush defense is 29th in the league.
Yeah.
To get 50 yards in Chicago and with Caleb Williams, throwing the football,
Yeah.
and they're just handing it off with Swift. Swift should get 50 yards.
Easy.
Easy. Which sounds like a check mark there for me there too. That's
Yeah.
2. which leads us to our last one. Irshad, let them know what our last pick of this is.
So our last pick is also a running back, and it is also a milestone with over 50 yards rushing, and that is Josh Jacobs from the Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
All right, so we have a couple of reasons there. Sheer fact of the matter is
the Rams are the worst.
The Rams have the worst rushing defense in the entire league, allowing nearly 166 yards per game on the ground. Getting over 50 yards is less than a third.
I think it might even get in the first quarter.
I honestly wouldn't even be surprised.
Would be surprised.
Yeah.
First run, breakout, 50 yards, done. Check mark.
The easiest check mark that we get so far. Right?
So that's our 3-leg parlay.
That's it. Etienne, Swift, and Josh Jacobs for a total, depending on your sports book, of 4.1 times your unit.
They just got to run 50 yards. Each one of them.
50 yards.
That's it.
50 yards.
That's it. 5 yards a carry, 10 carries, you're there. 50 yards. Simple.
That's it.
Simple. But yeah, we love that here at AIM Sports right here. 4.09 times your unit. Lock it in. Have fun with us. Enjoy the games. Hopefully, if you want to be more exciting, throw them, put it all tutties as well too. If you're feeling ballsy,
that's it.
But we'll take the 50 yards. We're gonna play it safe. We're gonna have fun to lock it in, for us to be able to use what we have for next week.
That's it.
And for that AIM Sports, we're gonna recap what we have here. We got our game of the week again. Baltimore, Cincy. I got Baltimore. My brother got Cincy. We both are riding. What? I got Cincy.
You got Cincy.
I got Cincy. I apologize. I'm trying to twist the table on my brother over here.
Trying to throw a wild card on you.
I am. I'm trying to throw a wild card on you. Since, Thursday nights aren't good to you. Maybe this will help you win this matchup. I don't know.
Jeez.
But we got Baltimore, Cincy. I got Cincy. My brother got Baltimore. We got Jacksonville, Indy. We both got Jacksonville -3. We got Arizona, San Francisco. We both got Arizona +7.
Yep.
We got a trending bet. Etienne score a touchdown anytime. We got our fantasy lineup that we recapped for you. Geno Smith quarterback. We got Chase as our wide receiver. We got Nico Collins wide receiver. We got Etienne as running back. Henry as running back. Kelsey as tight end.
Yep.
Pittsburgh defense. Goop as a kicker. And my brother Lem Noir parlay.
And in the fun 3-leg parlay, we have Etienne over 50 yards rushing, Swift over 50 yards rushing, and Josh Jacobs over 50 yards rushing for a collective of 4.09 times your unit.
There you go. You heard it here at AIM Sports. Thank you for listening to us, guys. Bet what you can afford. Have fun. Enjoy Sunday. Grab your bowl of popcorn. It's spooky season, spooky time. From AIM Sports, we're out. See you guys next week.
Peace.